In today's video, we are going to be covering the number one most important thing that you need to do all year. It's definitely one of the most important things for me. And what is that? It's called an end of year planning retreat. And if you aren't doing this, chances are you're not maximizing your kick-ass life or maximizing your business. So if you want to learn how to do this end of year retreat, hey, keep on watching this video because we're going to be diving into it right now. What's going on? It is your boy, Kevin Yee, the Farm D. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the most important thing that you need to do. It's called the end of year retreat. Let's be real, at this time of the shooting, it's been a really rough year. 2020 was not easy on any of us. A lot of us may have lost jobs, relationships, and all this sort of thing. And you might be feeling like, damn, I just need a mental reset. I just need to recalibrate everything, just figure out my life again. And that's actually one of the reasons why I'm actually at the W in Boston, my home city. So basically in today's video, we're going to be talking about what an end year planning retreat looks like, why should you do one, and the 7 different things that you need to do while you're on this. And trust me, I'm coming near the end of my retreat. I only have maybe this room for the next 2 or 3 hours. And I just want to share my insights with you guys about what worked really, really well and why I feel actually really good and positive about the next year, 2021, and how I'm going to kick it off this year as well. So if you guys are watching this, make sure to stay tuned. So if you're new to this channel, my name is Kevin. I'm actually a former pharmacist, YouTuber, and business consultant. I actually share a lot of insights on digital marketing, inbound closing, but mainly on this channel, what we do is I break down the people, the processes, the tools, and strategies of how to live a more productive, kick-ass, happier life. Because isn't that what we all want, right? And chances are, if you're watching this, chances are you're a productivity junkie like me, you're an entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur as well. So if you are one of those type of people and you want to learn more, hey, consider smashing the like button and subscribing to this channel as well. By the way, if you want to skip to another part, timestamps will be below as well. So make sure to check that out as well. But let's dive back into content and really talk about how can we make a kick-ass end of year planning retreat so we can start off our year a lot better. So you might be asking yourself, what is an end year planning retreat? And believe it or not, it's very simple. It's just a pattern interrupt. Maybe you're like myself and you lost a major client this year. You took a major financial hit. Maybe you lost a relationship like me, or maybe your family had health issues like me. You can tell 2020 was not easy for me. And so it's really important. Like recently, I've just been feeling this way where I was just so overwhelmed. I was like, oh, I don't know what I really want to do in life. I just felt really, really lost. And contrast this back to my pharmacy days, I always knew what I wanted. I was like, I want to become a pharmacist. And the goals were a lot more clear back then as well. But as you dive into the entrepreneurial world, or as even you get older, you just realize, man, is this the best way that I should live my life? So this is why I decided to do an end of year planning retreat. Fun fact, I actually got this concept from Graham Cochran. He has a great channel. I'll link his video somewhere as well, so you can check it out after. But he introduced this concept to me, and I just want to share my experience actually doing it. But basically, a end of year planning retreat is very simple. You get out of your normal environment. So if you're working at home, you want to leave home, you want to go somewhere. For me, I just stayed local. I didn't have to drive to New York or drive somewhere really, really far. This place is actually only about 15 minutes away from my place. And I wanted to go to a place where I felt inspired. And for me, the city always inspires me. It's that energy. But I know some people, they prefer places like the beach, or they prefer like nature. For me, I'm a city boy, so that's what I prefer. But either way, go somewhere that it's new. It doesn't have to be super, super expensive. This retreat alone, I think, was about $233 for this hotel room. So it's really not that expensive, especially when you compare it to the amount of value you get. And the mental reset part is super important. It allows you to do 2 things. One, it lets you rest up and celebrate your wins. Second thing, it disconnects you from your normal routine just to really inspire a lot of ideas. You know, chances are we probably don't have the best ideas for our business or our life when we're in the whirlwind. And if you don't know what the whirlwind is, it's when you feel like you're constantly reacting. And that's how I felt within my business. I was just doing things, just trying to put out fires, but I wasn't really proactively thinking about where I was headed. And it's kind of reflected on this channel, honestly, because I haven't had that much growth in the last year or so because it was all over the place. And so this year I made a commitment to myself that I would focus a lot more. And like I said, you can go to the beach, you can get Airbnb, but you know, the point is to get away I like to get away for 2 nights at least. That way you have 1 full day. Yesterday was my full day. And this was actually my first company retreat, which was really, really cool. In the future, when it's not so crazy in the world, I want to have a group collaboration as well. And I want to actually do this quarterly as well. Of course, this is always an excuse to binge on snacks, stay up late, sleep in, watch crappy TV, and ball out on room service. Although, surprisingly, right now, since it's COVID right now, there isn't a lot to ball out on. So honestly, I didn't really do that. And plus, who can forget tax deductions for your business? So that is what a year-end retreat looks like. All right, so I'm gonna show you my room at the moment. Let's take a look. Oh man, so this is the room over here, and we got this nice mirror. Let's go into the restroom. So there's something about really having a nice restroom where you can just do a shower or anything like that, and then obviously the restroom. But I think in the future, probably for me, I would really want something like a bathtub. So there's that. This is all my stuff. There's a big TV, which I didn't really use. And if we're looking over here, we have my light stand and everything that I used to shoot earlier as well. Another core thing, I also brought a bunch of books over here too, just so that I could read. I only read maybe these books over here, but I didn't get a chance to read the rest of them. But they're important just because if you have a solid idea or if there's a certain area that you want to focus on, you can do that. And of course, we got the beautiful view over here. This is so beautiful. And if we take over here, this is the view of Boston. So this is really nice. And then we got a nice big bed. Honestly, it was huge. It was so much just for myself. And yeah, that is pretty much the room. But the key is but I would say the key is to pick a place where you feel very inspired. For me, I love mirrors and stuff like that. And that's the reason why I decided to get this particular space. So yeah. All right, so now that you know what an end year planning retreat is, why should you even do one? And do you really need one? And my opinion is yes, everyone, whether you're an entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur, or you just want to be a little bit more organized and feel better about your future, this is absolutely necessary. And I use it almost like a business planning session and life planning session too. Have you ever heard the term failing to plan is planning to fail? Well, you know, in the previous years, I mean, I was never able to hit my revenue goals because I was always, looking back on it, I was always caught in the whirlwind. I would not make really good decisions because I was too busy reacting to, oh, I gotta serve this client, I gotta serve this client. And honestly, I look at the growth of, I don't want to say competitors, of the people around me, and they were able to grow. And honestly, sometimes it's a really tough pill to swallow, knowing that, you know, you could have grown so much, but it's a lesson that we all need to learn, is take a step back, look at the people around us and see, what did those people really do differently? And the thing at the time for me, I thought I needed to hustle harder, work harder, to the point where my body was breaking down. I was feeling so exhausted. And honestly, everything around me was falling apart. So this led to extreme burnout. And it was only when I went through at least 4 or 5 or 6 cycles of this burnout, I realized, no, there has to be a better way. And what came out of it? Well, it was really planning. And so the truth is, I don't remember where I read it or heard it, but staying busy is actually a form of procrastination and laziness. Think about it. Staying busy is a form of procrastination and laziness. Well, what are you procrastinating from? Well, it's the discipline of sitting down, thinking about where you're supposed to head to, and executing as well. It's not enough to just keep on doing work. That's so simple. But sometimes we just need to, hey, stop for a second and give us themselves some space. And I heard this in a really good book. I can't remember, but miracles happen within the empty spaces. Have you ever had those shower thoughts where you're like, man, that's a really good idea? That's kind of like what I've been experiencing during this whole retreat. I was able to kind of take a step back, think about where can I more effectively use my time, and where can I eliminate, what areas in my life can I eliminate to kind of be a little bit more productive and results focused as well, right? And this actually this concept of focusing, deep work, and planning didn't really hit me until my last quarter, when I actually lost my biggest client. I dumped all my other clients, and I was like, okay, for this quarter, I'm just going to work on my business, my personal brand, and every single day I'm going to write out my plan, write out my goals. I actually read this really great book by Lee Cockrell and this podcast by Mike Kim, with him interviewing Lee Cockrell, and he talks about how to organize your time, planning, all that. And so this was actually the game changer in my life. It was the best decision ever. If you see me do deep focus sessions, because that is the number one game changer in my life. Now, in terms of deep focus sessions and planning every day, that was great. It was a game changer for me because I got all the things I wanted to get done. I got my kick-ass investing course done. I got majority of my one-on-one coaching done. I got all my testimonials done this period. I also tested out my coaching program as well, and consulting business for inbound sales. And it was only through that deep focus and deep planning that I was able to hit that. So then I started thinking, hey, what would happen if it was more macro, if I planned it out more for the year? And that's why I'm here as well. So the purpose of this really was for me to come here and walk away with a roadmap, walk away with a plan, so I can focus 100% on execution, and I don't have to toggle thinking about, oh, what should I do next? Is what I'm doing getting me to the goals that I want? So there's that. And honestly, it's been a very cathartic experience for me. It's been very uplifting for me, because honestly, I was in a very dark place where, I just wanted to quit everything, and going on this retreat gave me that inspiration of hope again, and reminded me of all the things that are in front of me, all the opportunity I have, and everything that I was just overlooking when I was in the whirlwind, right? So like I said, if you are a business owner, aspiring business owner, or you just want to get more done this year, not only with your business, but also your life, then I would recommend that you just do one as well. All right, so now that you know what a end of year retreat is and why you should do one, how do you actually do an end of year planning retreat? And there's 7 steps that Graham actually talks about, and I'll break down for you guys as well. And I'll let you know my personal experience with all of them as well, and some tips that, maybe Graham didn't go into that really helped me on this trip. The first thing is, hey, celebrate your wins, or Graham calls it count your fruit. And this was so important because my business coach, Terry Rice, he always tells me, hey, celebrate your wins. You don't celebrate your wins so much. You keep on moving the goalposts a lot. And this is actually very tough for me to kind of take a step back and just appreciate everything that I've done this year. I've accomplished a lot, believe it or not. And it was crazy. While I was listing all the things that I did this year, my list of things that went well was so much longer than the things that didn't go well. And, especially in Asian culture, we're taught to, there's always this internal dissatisfaction of never being good enough, or what you did was never enough. Like, for example, if you get an A, they ask why not get A+? Or you're a doctor, well, why aren't you this, right? So there's always a level of you're not, even when you hit this milestone moving as well, which can leave us really feeling depressed. And honestly, I've kind of internalized it, and it's not so healthy, especially in developing your confidence, your conviction of how you deliver things as well. And that's really important, especially for our online businesses as well. So as I'm getting older and I'm getting therapy, I'm just realizing, hey, this probably isn't the best thing for my mental health to think this way. And it's probably explaining why I get burnt out all the time, right? So to keep my sanity and my mental health, I actually documented everything for the year. So more importantly, from a business standpoint, I'm trying to figure out two things: what went really well this year in my business, and what didn't go so well this year in my business. And it doesn't have to be like you can do business and life. For me, I did business and life because I am a personal brand, and a lot of what I do in my personal life actually corresponds into my business as well. So I lumped them together. And the goal after coming out of this is to do more of what's working and less of what's not working for you. And so some of the things that I took a look at were, hey, revenue. I took a look at, hey, what were the dips and spikes in my revenue, and what were the factors that happened in each? And what is the overall lesson that I could take away from that? For example, one of my clients, they were really underpaying me and it was stressing me out. And I decided to put more effort into these clients. And honestly, it did not help the numbers at all when I was looking at it for a year. I also learned that this year, like, hey, I was taking on some clients that that was referred to me, but honestly, didn't fit my criteria. And guess what? It reflected in the revenue numbers. I was putting in 80 hours per month, sometimes even more. And honestly, from that campaign, I probably made $500. Was that a good ROI on my time? No way at all. And so it was through these lessons where I learned, hey, where can I maximize my results? For example, like I did really well with affiliates this year, and so I need to be focusing more on that. Been collecting a lot more brokerages as well, referring clients to my friends. And so I was like, maybe I should double down on that, what my coach actually recommended me to do. So that's revenue, right? The second thing is email list growth. Honestly, I didn't do that much email marketing this year, which was probably a big mistake. I didn't have that many lead magnets that performed well or that I was promoting. And I also noticed a decrease in my email list too, probably because of list decay and because I wasn't active in it. And so what I realized was like, hey, maybe I should get back into use my content to talk to my email list again, build those relationships up, because that's my direct communication with them, right? And then the third thing I looked at was YouTube analytics. So what are the top keywords I'm ranking for? What are the top 10 sources I'm being recommended for? And what I realized on this main channel, man, like honestly, the keywords I'm ranking for and who I want to reach are totally different. So it allowed me to kind of think about, hey, what can I do? Like maybe hire a consultant to get the audience that I really want. I really want not the pharmacy students who are curious about pharmacy, but I want those people who are, in pharmacy, who want to transition into a life outside of pharmacy, or even that young, or even coaches, business coaches and stuff who have experience, who are established in the industry, and they're trying to launch a high ticket program. How do I get them into my ecosystem? So I'm actually hiring a business consultant this year to really help strategize for that. But I wouldn't have had the main takeaway is I wouldn't have even had these thoughts if it wasn't for the numbers and looking into it. And honestly, this was probably the longest one of all the steps. So literally block out half a day for this step alone, especially if you don't have your numbers all in one place. And I would actually recommend, if you get a chance, kind of prepare it before you come as well. That might be really good. But celebrate your wins, count your losses, and just think about, hey, what should I focus more on this year as well and do less of as well. All right. So the second thing that I've been doing was the promotional calendar. And Graham in his videos talks about, hey, don't scramble, have a plan. And that's the one thing I didn't do this year. I actually took Ali Abdal's part-time YouTube Academy, and it was mind-blowing because the way that he does his content is so smart. He uses things like Notion, uses things like Twitter, and shares it to his feed. And this was a #1 game changer in my content thing as well, because I was able to plan out half a year's of content in just a short amount of time, like an hour or two. And so I was thinking, how can I apply this to becoming omnipresent on other social media platforms, things like LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram and stuff, I haven't been really utilizing my content like all cohesively. And so by planning out a content calendar, it's really been helping me out a lot. And because I did the previous step, I could see, hey, what content worked and what content didn't work. For example, a lot of my content that happened over the last year actually did not really rank. There was only 2 videos that really ranked high this year. And I created almost a video every single day. So I was like, I'm spinning the wheels and something is not working. So, I was like, how can I strategically plan my content so I can get the audience I want? And in my opinion, content marketing is one of the key things that you need to have in any business, right? Especially if you're a personal brand as well. And so it allows you to build, as we know in sales, there's 3 things that you need to have to close a deal. You need to trust the brand, trust the product, and trust the person that you are dealing with as well, or working with. And so this content marketing allows you to do this all organically. Plus it's really fun. And the magic on the retreat is that you're fresh, you're in flow state. You're not worried about the whirlwind. You can actually come up with better ideas for content because you're not strapped on the time. And then even if you map out your content for next 6 months or next year, and do nothing with it, hey, you still feel, it's a powerful feeling knowing that you at least have a plan and that you have everything mapped out, even if you throw away everything as well. So, in my opinion, so basically what I did on this trip, I probably scheduled out half a year after this video. I'm probably gonna sit down and do the rest of the year, but this was also a really intensive process, and I probably should have done more. And probably, actually looking back on it, I should probably do less content, higher quality content rather than more content this year as well. And by the way, if you're interested in content strategy and all that, one of the courses I really recommend is Ali Abdal's Part-Time YouTube Academy. So check that out. I'll leave in the link below, and you can support my channel. Check out Ali's products. They're really, really great. So let's dive into the third thing, promotional calendar. And like I said earlier, Graham in his video says, don't scramble, have a plan. That's the one thing I'm really bad at. And so this year with Refugee Hustle, I built out a few programs. I built out Kick-Ass Investing Academy, built out Kick-Ass Investing Bootcamp. I built out a YouTube marketing toolkit, and I built out my high ticket sales or inbound closing one-on-one coaching program as well. And the problem was, though, this year, I was so busy creating these products, I didn't really promote these products as well. And I probably missed out on revenue because I did not have a plan. I did not plan out when I was going to be talking about these things. And I just did it when it was done. And that's not the way that you should be running a business. It should be very intentional, very focused as well. So basically what I did was I planned at a minimum of a quarterly launch every single month. And there were certain times, like for example, investing in between tax day and the New Year's, that's a key time to invest. Or at the end of the year, that's also a key time to invest. So I planned out certain things for that type of thing too. And also I planned out the cohorts for my one-on-one coaching program too. If you're interested in that, make sure to check that out in the description to apply as well. But really my goal was to at least plan a quarterly launch at a minimum. And if maybe next year, if I'm feeling super ambitious, I might do a monthly thing as well. All right. So then tip 4 was plan your work schedule. So after you've kind of planned out your content, you planned out your promotional calendar, you planned out the wins, and you saw what went well, what didn't go well. The next thing to do is actually plan out your work schedule. And if you're anything like me, like you are addicted to work, your drug of choice is workahol, chances are you're probably just there 24/7, showing up and just working all the time. And let's be real, this isn't a schedule, right? Working 24/7 isn't a schedule. It's just inefficient and stupid, right? Yeah, did I call myself stupid? Hell yeah, I did. But it's one of the reasons why like the rest of the areas of my life also fell apart, like my relationship this year as well. And so on my retreat, it was my goal to set a schedule. And one of the tools I use actually for all these things, I use Notion. I can show my dashboards too. But basically, no lie, I was really inspired. So I built out a real schedule, and I was really inspired by Graham, only working 15 hours per week, running 2 businesses. Now, keep in mind, his business is a lot more mature than mine. And I was like, maybe I have to work a little bit more. But the intention really is to ask myself, how can I reduce my working hours every single year? How can I spend more time on work that feels like fun? So things like YouTube and coaching, right? And how can I spend more time on real fun, like going to jujitsu, going to yoga, going on a retreat? And how can I maximize the time I am working with deep work focus sessions as well? So for the next year, 2021, I'm done running back and forth with my meetings. I just want time on this earth to really enjoy the fruits of my labor rather than working myself into a grave, if that makes sense as well. Okay. So that was the next thing. So after you plan your work schedule, what's next? Well, you need to plan your vision. And real talk, I'm horrible with vision. I struggle like writing down my vision every single time. So I'm changing that. And also through Ali Abdal, I actually found out this framework called the Odyssey Journey, or the Odyssey Plan, where you map out the next 5 years of your life and you put everything into goals. For example, me, in the next 5 years, I want to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And so I can put it for year 5 and then work back. And I even put the years to make it more visual as well. And for my YouTube channel, I want 3 million by the end of 5 years, something that's very possible based off Ali's numbers. I modeled everything after Ali as well, after his metrics, but I'm working backwards, and it shows like, hey, what do I really need to, what are some of the goals that I want to hit, and how am I going to do them as well? And so the truth is, yes, will your vision probably be the same in 5 years? Maybe not. Maybe it will change, and chances are probably it will change, and you have to adapt at that point. But going in with creating a plan instills this feeling of focus, direction, and as long as I do keep on planning, my vision will get clearer and clearer all the time. For me, I struggle with perfectionism all the time, and it's really, really hard for me to put things on paper because I just want things to be right. And I'm just like, okay, no, just do the exercise and redo it over and over and over again. I was reading this book by Donald Miller, Story Branding. I was checking out his Twitter, and he was saying that he actually edits his books like 50 times, and that's a world-breaking like record for him. And so imagine you need to do the same thing with these processes and tools and your vision as well. You're not going to get it right on the first time. And one of the goals on my retreat for here, when I put the pen to the paper, I was like, hey, where do I want to be 5 years from now? Financially, health, relationships, and what are some of the cool things I really want to get done? And even personal things like speaking Cantonese and being fluent in Cantonese and stuff. I wrote that down on my vision because it's important to me. So what are the things important to you? And after doing this exercise, it was really, really great. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Like, I felt so focused after. I was like, okay, I need to review this quite often and make sure that I'm on track as well with my goals. And so I really had a lot of fun with it, and I'm going to continue working on this even when quarterly as well, and just keeping everything as well. So there's that. So now there's the next thing, which was my favorite part, was planning my education. Now, out of all these steps, this was the one I look forward to the most because I'm a nerd. I love education. I love planning. It's almost like designing your own degree, or almost like planning your own college. And this is how you're going to be. This is where you step-by-step plan out everything that you had for next year. And it's almost like a choose your own adventure type of book as well. Some questions that you might want to ask are, hey, what books are you planning to read? What courses or programs do you want to invest in? And what type of coaching do you want to have? Are you thinking about life coaching, business coaching, therapy? Therapy has been really big this year for me. But this year, and also what I also did on this retreat is I also took an inventory of all the programs I invested in over the last few years and revisiting those resources. If you guys don't know, I probably spent over $100K on different courses, programs, things like that. And so I really wanted to revisit some of those because I'll be honest, some of those, especially when I was a younger entrepreneur, I didn't reap the benefits of those. I just bought them and did nothing with them. And that's the one thing that you don't want to do. So I basically used my Notion board and built out a timeline of all the books I'm like 12 books I'm reading, 12 courses I'm taking because I bought a lot of programs, and also writing down the types of investing I want to do in terms of coaching, like business coaching as well, and therapy. So those are some things that I put there as well. But also for this year, like I said, I'm planning to invest more into coaching and more into my mental health, and also beginning to outsource some of the things near the end of the year as well. So specifically coaching, I'm planning to continue working with my business coach, Terry Rice. I'm planning to do Ali Abdal's part-time YouTube Academy since I signed up for the highest tier, and I'm doing the Rich and Niche digital marketing mastermind. So if you're interested in those and you want to join me there, I'll leave the links below. Will support my channel, and plus let them know I sent you. They'll take care of you as well. So there's that. So the second thing that was really, really enjoyable for me on this trip was reading. And the purpose of this is to read books that inspire new ideas and forces you to revisit old ideas as well. Now, since you are in flow state, you'll read a passage and stuff and you'll be like, wow, this really hits me differently. I don't know, it's really weird. So what I'm planning to do, or what I did do, was I read a lot of these books from front to back. I mean, my first night here, I polished off about 5 books, and I was taking pictures of the quotes that I really liked, and I was putting them in my Notion board. I'll probably distill it later. Maybe I'll even do a book review on this channel. But basically, in terms of these books, I wanted to distill the big ideas that I want to focus on for the next year pertaining to my goals. So in terms of selecting books, I like the big idea books rather than the nitty gritty. Like, I love sales books and stuff like that, but that's very tactical. I'm thinking about big idea books as well. And so for me, I was actually very focused on, hey, coaching business, masterminds, scaling up my current offers. And I wanted to focus on spirituality, mental health, and my physical health as well. So in terms of books, I picked a lot of those books, like personal branding, spirituality, coaching, business systems, productivity, and storytelling books as well. But whatever you decide, make sure you pick books that make you feel excited, that have you on a journey. And I'll leave all the books that I decided as well. There's a whole laundry list. Like, for example, I have over like 16 books that I'm looking at as well. So I'll leave those books in the description or on my blog. You can check that out as well. If you want me to do another video on the books I brought on this trip, more than happy to shoot you another video on that. But I want to know, hey, what is your end of retreat going to look like? As mentioned before, end of year planning is all about the mental reset, right? And feeling refreshed with clear action steps of your quarterly goals and all that. And so what I would recommend is, hey, don't underestimate the power of momentum. We're building such big momentum at the end of the year. Let's carry it into 2021 as well. And so this is what the 2020 Refugee Hustle retreat is all about. And so, you know, you can feel free to add things, take away things as well that you don't feel like is necessary. But I'd love to hear from you. What is your end of year retreat looking like as well? And honestly, feel free to send a friend this video for someone who is trying to plan out their year, who you feel like is in the trenches for everything. So chances are, if you like this video, I have a playlist on productivity, I have a playlist on digital marketing, and I have a playlist on inbound closing as well. So chances are you'll probably like those videos. Make sure to check those out. I'll leave them in the corner over here. But basically, because like I said, you're probably an aspiring entrepreneur or maybe an entrepreneur and you want to level up your game in 2021 or the next year when you watch this video as well. So don't miss out. Check some of those videos out. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.